What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Fox Sports The Gambler YouTube channel. My name is Sean Barnard, and I'm back with some new NBA plays and picks for today's slate of games. Coming off a night where there was just one game of NBA action, that was the Atlanta Hawks versus the Boston Celtics. The Celtics have now officially punched their ticket to the second round to secure a second-round matchup with the Philadelphia 76ers. Shout out to Trae Young for at least extending the series and giving Joel Embiid and the rest of the team 2 more days of rest, a little more time for that knee to recover. Could not get the job done last night. And to dive into the picks and recap, went 3-1 on yesterday's picks, which we will take with the one game of action. The only loss was a bad beat. And to dive into each one, number one we hit on was Clint Capella over 18.5 points and rebounds. He ended with 10 points and 10 rebounds on the night, so 20 total overall. A little disappointing, a little scary. He had 17 through three quarters and then ended up with only 3 in the fourth. But you know what? It's enough to get the job done. That's all we care about. So shout out Clint to coming through. My favorite play of the day was the over that was set at 231.5. This one cruised past. Both these teams were nearly at 100 by the end of the third quarter. The game ended 128 to 120, so 148 on the total, 17 points over where the line was set there. So it was a high-paced game as I expected. Shout out to them for coming through on that. Trae Young also came through with the over 9.5 assists. He ended with 10 in that matchup. Trae coming up clutch until the end, which is the one that lost that we did have was the Hawks +7. A rough beat here. I mean, the Celtics came on strong to end the game, finished the game on an 11-0 run to really cost us this one. They outscored the Hawks 30-20 in the fourth quarter. The Trae Young magic just ran out at that point. He shot just 1 of 13 from the field in the second half after starting the game super hot. He had 24 first half points, but the luck ran out. And that is the double-edged blade that is Trae Young, is that he is talent at the talent level where he is scary to both teams. He can shoot you in and out of a game. He does not always have the feel for when it is time to defer. And we saw that it ultimately sunk the Hawks. And that's the reason that they will not be through to the second round. But once again, shout out to him for at least extending the series, giving the Sixers a little bit more time to rest. Now let's get into tonight's slate of games. There are 2 games remaining, 2 games on tonight's matchup, both in the Western Conference. Number one, we have the Warriors versus Kings. Warriors favored by 7.5 points in this matchup. The Kings are plus 255 on the money line. The over-under set at 236 in this matchup. My number one pick I'm starting out with is the Warriors minus 7.5 here. I've been a Sacramento Kings believer all year. I'm a huge fan of that team. They've been awesome for the vibes, so fun to watch, but I do think it ends tonight. I think the Warriors are picking up some momentum. They're figuring out how to play. They're finding their playoff identity once again at home in front of the Golden State fans where they've been terrific all season. I think it ends, and I think they win this game in comfortable fashion. So give me the 7.5 points here to take a look at how this series has gone so far. Kings won game 1, 126-123, as well as game 2, 114-106. The Warriors have bounced back, winning game 3, 114-97, and then 126-125 in game 4, and 123-116 in game 5. So Warriors riding a 3-game winning streak. I think they carry that momentum, and they put it all on the table here. So as great as the Kings story is, as awesome it has been to watch this team, unfortunately, I think it's the end. This is still a huge step forward for the franchise to even get in the playoffs after that massive streak that they've been out of the playoffs forever. So shout out to them for taking that steps forward. They got a promising young core to build around, and I'm excited to see where they go from here. But the Warriors are in the championship conversation right now, and they're going to prove that with a statement win tonight. Number 2, and to go along those lines, I have Draymond Green over 23.5 points, rebounds, and assists. There are plenty of opinions of Draymond Green out there. I mean, plenty who like him, hate him, anything in between. He's a menace on the court, and he's been playing some much better basketball of late. So I do think now is the time to cash in on it. Looking at his stats from the series, he had 24 points in game 1, 17 in game 2, which is when he was ejected. He was suspended for game 3, came back, had 28 combined points, rebounds, assists in game 4, and 32 combined points, rebounds, and assists in game 5. Draymond's playing a lot more offense, and they're giving him shots, and he's taking it. In game 5, he ended with 21 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds. He had 10 field goal attempts in that game. He had 14 field goal attempts in game 4, shot just 3 of 14 from the field. But we're seeing Draymond a little more involved offensively. And sometimes it gets forgotten in things because he's obviously their defensive anchor, a huge part of their defense, and made some really big plays on that end of the floor as well in the series. But he's still capable offensively. And if they're going to give him open looks, and if he is an afterthought in the defensive plan, he will make you pay at times. So once again, in front of the home crowd with him playing his best ball. And I think he's a little more motivated after all the nonsense that has gone on, getting the suspension and everything else that happens in the world of Draymond Green. I expect him to back him up and at least get 24 points, rebounds, and assists in tonight's matchup. The second game tonight, we have the Los Angeles Lakers taking on the Grizzlies, another game that is a 3-2 series lead in favor of the Lakers. Lakers 4.5-point favorites in this matchup. Grizzlies at plus 175 on the money line, over under set at 220. I had a tough time with this game and finding value. I lean toward the Lakers getting the win, but I don't love that 4.5 line. I dove through the over under for quite some time at 220, which is an appealing number for both ends. Originally, I was on the under. I almost listed the under for this pick, but decided against it. And the only play that I'm rocking with in this matchup is Lakers over 10.5 3-point made as a team. On the series, they're averaging 10.6 per game. It's difficult looking at this Lakers stats, because it's been such a different team throughout the course of the season. On the season as a whole, they're just 26th in 3-point attempts and 25th in 3-point percentage. But I don't think you can weigh that too heavily because this is such a different team than it was at the start of the season. We saw their 3-point numbers dip down so significantly to start the year. They were shooting historically low rates and just brutal production from outside the line. That hasn't been this team of late. They look better. They've got guys stepping up. Rui Hachimura has been terrific in this series. He was 5 of 6 from three-pointer in game one. A couple other guys, Austin Reeves doing his thing. LeBron hitting a couple. He had 3 in last game. So I think as a team, they combined for 11. I like them in front of the home crowd. I'm not really sure what direction that this game is going to go. Once again, I lean toward the Lakers, but this is something I'm more getting a feel of in the game. If there's any value, if there's any sort of live spread or money line that looks appealing to me. But for the most part, I'm staying away. I think the Lakers get the job done, but don't feel confident enough about it. So that's the only play I have for that matchup. I will slide over to Saturday's game, which we have the first game of the second round across the NBA, and that is the Phoenix Suns versus the Denver Nuggets. Suns plus 120 money line as the underdogs in that matchup. The Nuggets are 2.5-point favorites, over under set at 226 for the game, and that's exactly where I'm going for the first pick here. I'm taking the over in that matchup at 226. Looking at these are two teams that can score the rock at an insane rate. Looking at the Suns total for the opening series, they had 110, 123, 129, 112, and 136 across their 5 games. So that's an average of 122 per game. That's the second highest rate across the NBA in the playoffs, trailing only the Miami Heat in that matchup, which is crazy because the Heat were a brutal offensive team for most of the regular season. But we see what Jimmy Butler's doing and uplifting that, and the team's following. But anyway, the Suns are a team that is very capable of scoring the ball at an insane rate. And right on the other side of things is the Denver Nuggets. Looking at their totals for the opening series, they finished with 109 in game one, 122, 120, 108, and 112. So averaging 114.2 points per game on through the opening round. I expect this number to go up in this series. They were matched up with the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are not a great matchup for them, and a team that likes to slow the pace. They play with the 2 big men. They soak up as much of the shot clock as they can get. That's not how this matchup is going to go with Denver and with Phoenix. Both these teams can run and gun. They can score in both the half court and the fast break. Some of the most impressive offensive talents across the entire NBA will be seen in this matchup. And for me, that just spells out points. So give me the over by a pretty significant margin in this one. That's my favorite play out of the 5 on this list. Unfortunately, you have to wait till tomorrow to throw that in or see if it cashes. But yeah, I do like the over in that game. And lastly, my 5th pick of this and also in that matchup is Kevin Durant over 40.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I do like going with the combos for these, especially when it is good players like Kevin Durant, because he's the type of guy who, if his game's not going, if the shot is not falling, he'll still find another way to more positively impact the game. If that is being more of a playmaker, if it is helping out on the boards, I think he's going to be active rebounding the ball in this series. I think Jokic is going to get the better of DeAndre Ayton for a decent amount of the battles on the rebounds. Jokic is a terrific rebounder. Ayton's a guy who can get pushed out of there and sometimes struggles with the physicality. So I think Kevin Durant's going to be sliding down and helping out on the boards. And that's something that you should keep in mind for coding these statistics. So that is what made me go with the points, rebounds, and assists total. The Suns have still not fully successfully integrated Kevin Durant into this offense. He took a little bit of a backseat and deferred to Devin Booker for a good part of that opening round. Devin Booker averaging over 35 points per game in that first round. And he was nothing short of spectacular. Outside of Jimmy Butler, has been the best player across these playoffs. So shout out to Devin Booker. He still very much is one of the driving forces of that team, if not the. But Kevin Durant is still Kevin Durant, and I expect him to take on a little bit more of a role. He was brought to this team for a reason, that they want to take that next step to be true championship contenders and a team that is ready to prove it. So this is kind of the matchup that the winner of this series in the West will have the inside track to win the Western Conference. I know the Lakers and Warriors are probably going to be a matchup on the other side, but both these teams are just superior offensive talent. So I expect Kevin Durant to get the job done. And looking at his totals so far in these playoffs, he had 47 And then we're going the over 40.5 points, rebounds, and assists here. He had 47 in game one, 36, 39, 47, and 41. So 3-2 in that. I think he takes his game to another level in the second round, and there's going to be plenty of points for the taking. So appreciate all you guys for tuning in, listening. Make sure to drop a like in this video, a subscribe on the channel. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_Bernard1. Also tune into Fox 1025 The Gambler tomorrow from 11 to 1 to hear me on the Tough Cover Show with Mark Henry Jr. Gonna be talking some more NBA playoffs, go a little more in depth on each of these games. I'm sure he'll be fired up about the NFL draft, so there'll be plenty of that too. Appreciate all you guys for watching. We are 9-5 on plays for the week, so hopefully this continues through the weekend, and we will talk again next week. Peace.